Hello, this is just a quick little bit to camera to say the video you're about to watch was actually going to be a video coming out after the video I'm going to put out after this, which is about the Olympus XA2 in Bury. This is about the Ektar H35 half-frame camera, which I was going to give a go to because I've never used a half-frame camera before. Just as I was working on that, loads of videos started coming out talking about the Pentax 17, which is like some 400 odd quid half-frame camera that's just been released. So I thought I would release this video now, which I know nothing about the Pentax 17, but I thought it might be timely because other people might be interested in half-frame, and you know, I need to try and pick up as many viewers as I can. Hello again, hope you're well. What have we got this time? Well, we have got the Kodak Ektar H35, H35, don't know how you say it, but anyway, looks lovely. I've come by this camera, it's a half-frame camera, and I've never used a half-frame camera before, so I'm quite excited to try it, both because it shoots in a portrait orientation and because I get twice as many shots for my roll of film, which it comes with, a little Kodak Ultramax there, and I've just used some Ultramax and really enjoyed it, so it's quite nice to give it another go on this camera. Don't know what to expect, don't know what the quality is going to be like. I'm guessing not that high, but it's obviously a fun camera for taking fun snaps with. It's got a built-in flash. Don't think it comes with a battery, but left over from Christmas I have a AAA battery which didn't fit in Christmas lights, so that will be stuck in there, and I will see if I can get some interesting shots. I think it might be fun. I hope it is. Anyway, please join me and we will find out. Right, let's get this unboxed, as they say in the trade, I believe. I think that's what the kids say, isn't it? Unbox things. It's quite nicely packaged, I think. It's a nice little sort of gift set. Oh, there's a box within a box. I've got the box of the camera, and a little insert with the film in it. It's just a 24 exposure roll, but that will be 48 exposures. My math is awful, isn't it? 48 exposures, because it's double size. That's your standard 35mm film frame. That's when it's half frame, so they are portrait rather than landscape, which means that I guess if you want to shoot landscape, you've got to hold the camera that way up, which is interesting. I'm going to be interested in knowing how loud the shutter noise is on this as well. Let's open the box up. Oh, it's nice. It's got a little extra, it's got a little carry strap. I didn't realise that was in there, and a little bag to put it in. And here is the beast itself. Oh, there's some instructions in here as well. It's not a quick start guide, it's a QR code to an online quick start guide. I do miss physical guides, but I can understand wastage and all that sort of stuff. Right, so here is the little beast. It's got a little wind on at the back, little viewfinder, squeezy button. Should I try winding it on without anything and see what? Oh, it doesn't seem to do anything unless you've got it. How do you open it? I know I could read the instructions, but I've never read instructions for anything other than things that are dangerous in my life. So, oh look, oh, it's got a little, that's probably why it didn't. Please insert the film here. So this is obviously designed for people who have actually never used a film camera before, which is kind of useful, because it looks pretty much like anything else. So yeah, if you look inside there, it's back to front. Because normally you'd have the film spool on this side and it would wind to that side, but it goes the other way, which is interesting. It now winds properly now I've taken the little insert out, but you still can't press the button. And the little rewinder is there on the bottom, and the little button for the rewinder. So that is cool. And I like the little sort of leatherette effect. And it is tiny. It's dinky, which is good. View through the viewfinder. It's weird, because it's obviously just a normal viewfinder, but then they've masked off the two edges. So it looks like a normal 3:2 ratio, but it's actually 2:3. Right, okay, let's load the film up and see how it goes. Film goes on this side. Do you need to pull this down? I guess you do. To let it in. No? No, it just pops in there like that. That's quite neat. Is it engaged with the winder? I think so. And then the film goes. There is no slot for it to go into. Yes, there is. There's a slot there. So I put the film leader into the slot there, start winding it on. There we go, it's engaged with the sprocket hole, so I will close the back. Now I can hear whether the shutter button makes a click. It does, but it's very quiet. That's a lot quieter than I thought it was going to be. Nice. Right, so it's still at S, so I need to keep winding it on. I didn't put the battery in, did I? Probably should put the battery in. I doubt it has a meter or anything. The battery is probably just for the flash, but we'll put it in anyway just in case. I'm guessing everything is fixed exposure, fixed aperture. But I will read the instructions and get back to you on that. Well, I'm on frame 1. There we go. Ready to shoot. Let's take it out and see if we can get anything exciting on the streets of Stockport. So here I am in lovely sunny Stockport town centre. It's supposed to be the middle of summer, but you wouldn't believe it, would you? Anyway, I'm going to head towards the shopping area, see if I can get some nice shots. I'll try and film me getting a few of them just for a bit of context, but it might be tricky snapping away. But let's see what we get. Right, let's crack on. Looks like there's been some sort of fire or evacuation gone on just over here, so I'll try and get a couple of shots. So there we go, one of the wonderful sights you get in Stockport. And so there we go, ending where we began. And now time, I think, for a little slideshow. So we've looked at a few of the pictures as we've gone along, but let's go into these in a little bit more detail. Here's the view that I quite often shoot of the mill, and you can see it's quite crisp. The colours are right. It's pretty sharp edge to edge. There's a little bit of softness, but that's partly to do with my scanning. As always, I'm using a scanning setup where you do lose a little bit at the edges, and that's just kind of the way I like it. Here you can see the camera being used as a street photography camera. There are no settings to take, so it's just basically just snap it and you might catch something, which I have done here, which is kind of nice. And there is enough resolution to be able to go in and get the close-up of that and put it in landscape orientation. I think the shutter speed for this camera is somewhere around 1/100th of a second. Sometimes there's a little bit of camera shake if I'm just grabbing the camera out of my pocket to take the picture. Here you can see the flash being used, and it is working, but it's quite a short distance that the flash covers. It only seems to be like a couple of meters or so. I really like this picture. It's one shot from the new bridge that takes you from the railway station to the bus interchange, and I just like the geometrics here. It's a nice picture, and it's one where I kind of think, oh, if only I got this full frame. The other thing is, if this was shot full frame, the ratios would be slightly different, because obviously, although it's half the frame, it's a slightly squarer image, and so I think that kind of shape works really well. And if it had been the 35mm shape, I would have lost a bit of either the top or the bottom of that image, and it wouldn't have been quite what I see there, which is what I really like. Here again, it's a nice picture of the arches. Couldn't blow this up to poster gallery size, but that's not what this is for. This is for taking snapshots and enjoying the film process, in my view, and it does that very well there. Here, the obligatory selfie. I thought I'd take a picture just to see, can it focus close enough to take a picture of yourself? And it sort of can. I'm just ever so slightly out of focus, but at the size that you're seeing this, it's probably not that evident. And I kind of like the reflection of the building behind and the hedge that's behind the bus shelter that I'm sat at there. I think one day I'm actually going to do a project on bus shelters, because I've got a thing about them. They're not just interesting in what they are, but they can look quite fantastic, especially when you've got hedges and things behind them that get pushed up against the glass. I'll just show you an example of one of those now, which was actually shot on my phone, but it just shows the interesting shapes and the kind of nature versus man-made battle that's going on there. So yeah, I think there's a project to be had there. Watch this space. This picture is one that I really like, and it sort of makes me think, yeah, it's good that it was half frame, because I probably wouldn't have bothered taking this picture if it had been a full frame, because I'd have thought, oh, I can't waste an exposure on this because it might not be very good. But when it's just half an exposure, it's kind of like, oh, it's almost a freebie, I'll just have this as a free, and it's really nice. The idea is a castle in a forest. It just looked really nice, and I managed to get down low and just take a snap before it drove off again. And yeah, I really like that. Again, sadly, it wouldn't be possible to blow that up to gallery size, but then actually it would. Who says that gallery size has to be sharp, etc, etc, etc? It's playing too much by the rules that other people impose. If you're the artist, what you say goes, and that's what I like about art. A few shots around Stockport town centre in the marketplace, and this one you can see this is the full frame, and if I go into a almost 100% crop, you can see that you do get enough detail to see that there are people inside the building and get some sort of narrative going there. So yeah, it's not too bad. This is another one I really like. This is the interchange and the new bit that wasn't actually open yet when I did my opening of the interchange, because there's a spiral walkway that leads up to the park on the roof. And I think that's a really nice architectural shot. It's only half frame, so again, you won't be able to blow this up to gallery portrait size without a few sort of sneers and jeers probably, but I think that works really nicely as a picture. I like, again, the slightly squarer image that you would get than a 35mm frame. And yeah, it cost me half as much as it would have done if I'd been shooting full frame. Again, if it's digital, it's a whole different matter, but as I keep saying in these videos, for me, film is about the process, and if I can do that process cheaply, I'm a lot happier, because I don't have the money to be spending just throwing money away. That's why I'm not shooting with Leicas on portrait film. I'm getting cheap film, I'm using cheap cameras, trying to get results that are still worthy of looking at. It's not about the gear, it's about what you do. Obviously, you need some kind of quality in the gear. If you're just using something that's really rubbish, it's going to let you down. But if you've got the bare minimum, then it's up to you to try and make the best of it, and that's what I'm trying to do here. And I think I've succeeded in this one. I really, really like it. Hope you do too. Here are a couple in Mersey Square, and again, if you zoom in, you can see that there is enough resolution at showing on a screen size to take a portrait image and use just a landscape crop from it and still have a usable result. For the process and for the fun, I think half frame is a good thing. The one thing that's missing on this camera, in my opinion, you can't get a different shutter speed even manually. So you are going to get less control over exposure, and that's going to come out in the negative that you get. But this is, in my opinion, a fun, snappy snap camera. And I think it would be a good way to try out film if you are thinking about getting into it, and then maybe move up to something else. I know that when I talked about disc film, you can watch the video I did on that. One of the comments I made was that the cameras tended to not be great. And if you had one of the really good cameras, then you could get a lot out of this tiny, tiny negative, which is much smaller than this negative. But that was in the days before digital. So if you really want great results, go digital. And if you want the process, try and do it within your means. Give it a go, have fun with it, and let me know what you think. Right, so the Kodak H35. What did you think? I would love to hear your comments. Whatever you're doing, have a fantastic week, month, however long it is until I do another one of these. But please do subscribe, like, so that you get reminded when I do come up with some of this brilliant content that I know you love. That's it for this time. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.